People who went missing, what happened? I disappeared for 3 days when I was 12 years old, and nobody even noticed I was gone. My parents thought I was at my friend Tyler's house. Tyler's parents thought I was at home. The school thought I was sick. It started on a Friday afternoon. I was walking home from school when I saw this older kid, maybe 16, getting beaten up by 3 guys behind the grocery store. They were kicking him while he was on the ground. I didn't think, just grabbed a brick and threw it at one of them. Hit him right in the shoulder. All 3 of them turned and started chasing me instead. I ran as fast as I could, but they were bigger and faster. I ducked into this old abandoned warehouse near the train tracks, thinking I could hide until they gave up looking for me. The warehouse was huge inside, full of broken machinery and old boxes. I found this small room in the back corner and squeezed inside. I could hear them outside, yelling and throwing things around, trying to find me. After what felt like hours, everything went quiet. I waited until it was completely dark before trying to leave, but when I got to the door I came through, it wouldn't open. Something heavy had fallen against it from the outside. I tried every other door and window in that place. Everything was either boarded up, rusted shut, or too high to reach. I was completely trapped with no way out. The first night was the worst. It was freezing cold and I had no food or water. I found some old newspapers to wrap myself in, but I barely slept. Every sound made me think those guys had come back to finish what they started. By Saturday morning, I was getting desperate. I screamed for help until my throat was raw, but the warehouse was in the industrial part of town where nobody goes on weekends. I found a rusty pipe and spent hours trying to pry open different doors. My hands got cut up and bleeding, but nothing worked. I was starting to panic, thinking I might die in there. Saturday night, I heard voices outside. Not the guys who chased me, but deeper voices. Adult men talking and laughing. I banged on the walls and screamed as loud as I could. The voices got closer and suddenly I heard someone say, "Did you hear that? Sounds like someone's trapped in there." 20 minutes later, they had the door open. It was 3 homeless guys who had been looking for a place to spend the night. They'd heard me yelling and spent the whole time moving debris to free the door. One of them, an older man named Pete, gave me half his sandwich and walked me to the nearest gas station. The clerk called my parents, who had just realized I wasn't at Tyler's house like they thought. When my dad picked me up, he was furious. Demanded to know where I'd been for 3 days. When I told him the whole story, he didn't believe me. Said I was making up crazy stories to cover for running away. My mom searched my backpack and found the torn newspapers I'd used as blankets, plus the cuts on my hands from the rusty pipe. She started crying when she realized I was telling the truth. The next Monday, my parents went to the school to report what happened. The principal said they'd already called about my absences, but somehow my dad never got the message. Our answering machine had been broken for weeks. We drove back to the warehouse so I could show them exactly where I'd been trapped. The door was still open, and you could see the pile of metal beams that had fallen against it during the chase. Inside that little room, we found the newspapers I'd slept on, some candy wrappers from my backpack, and scratch marks on the walls where I'd tried to claw my way out. My dad apologized for not believing me. He said he couldn't imagine how scared I must have been, trapped in there for 3 days with no way to contact anyone. But the strangest part was what happened next. We never could figure out who those 3 homeless guys were. The gas station clerk said they paid for coffee and left before my dad arrived. The police tried to find them because they wanted to thank them for saving me, but nobody in that area had seen 3 men matching their description. It was like they just appeared when I needed help most, then vanished. I still drive past that warehouse sometimes. They tore it down 5 years ago and built a shopping center. But I always remember those 3 days and how 3 strangers risked their own safety to rescue a kid they'd never met.